Howdy-ho, thrill seekers. It's time for another Monday Moldy Oldie, and today's Monday Moldy Oldie comes from Saskatoon in the province of Saskatchewan in Canada, and it is from May 7th, 2009. You're going to see a lot of these videos from 2009 because 2009 is the year that I took my camera. I had a mini DV camera that I always do this gesture because I would tell somebody to just hold it on your shoulder and take a video as steady as you can. And you'll see a little shaking in this one because this wasn't on a tripod or anything, but I think it's okay anyway. And I am talking first about what is Zazen and then answering some questions about Zazen and creativity that I get asked a lot. And so maybe you'll enjoy this, maybe you won't, I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, take it away, Brad, from 2009.
What is it? What is Zazen?
Oh, what is Zazen? Yeah, okay, that's good. That's a very good question. It is a seated meditation practice. I don't have something to sit on, but you're normally sitting on a cushion with your legs kind of crossed, like that, but up on a cushion, so that your knees are on the ground and your butt is held up a little bit higher than that, and you're holding your back straight, and your hands are kind of like this, and your eyes are open, and you're looking at a wall. And you're not worried about what you're thinking, and not worried about what you're feeling. You're just kind of almost dumbly, stupidly, as my teacher would say, doing the practice. It's amazing what this really idiotically simple practice can show you about yourself. I still haven't found the end of it. You just keep at it, I think there may be something kind of fundamental to it. My teacher has some theories about how it might make the autonomic nervous system function more smoothly because of the alignment of the spine or something. And nobody's really done scientific tests, although I participated with a guy who was trying to figure that out. A guy one person in Montreal and one person in Georgia. We're both doing research about why Zazen works and stuff. So that's what it is. It's sitting there looking at a wall. That's what it is. But it's a sort of a structured sitting there looking at a wall. That's. I saw you first, or you want to go? Oh, he's deferred his question to you,
okay.
so you have to ask his question.
Okay, goes.
And then you have to ask her.
Somebody described Transcendental Meditation to me as sitting and kind of letting your thoughts come up. It sounds similar, is that?
I think I've never done Transcendental Meditation, so I can't really talk about it in any detail. I think it is similar, and there are other things. Vipassana meditation is also kind of similar, I hear, and Dzogchen, I think it's called, in the Tibetan tradition, is similar. But I only learned the Zen school, so that's all I can talk about. I know that in Transcendental Meditation, though, you're repeating a mantra, which you're not doing in Zazen. There's no mantra. There's no nothing. It's very bare. But, so now you can ask her a question.
Okay. She was going to say that two questions.
She had two questions.
She had two questions, actually, yeah. I'm wondering if you have any other creative pursuits besides writing? And also, you talked about how your Zazen practice helps you see that your thoughts are just thoughts and let them go. Now, as a writer or anything else you do you find that it also helps you kind of know what to hold on to as well and what to use or to use in your life or in your creative pursuits?
So creative pursuits and whether Zazen kind of helps creative pursuits know what to hold on to and what to... I'm just sort of trying to repeat it for anybody who didn't hear in a nutshell, but I think everybody heard. Well, yeah, I have a lot of other creative pursuits, I suppose, and none of them make very much money. But a week ago, I was in Detroit and played a show with the hardcore band that I was in the early '80s, and then we reformed in 2005, and we've been playing. They all live in Ohio, and I live in California now, so we just play whenever we can. So I have that, and I still do music at home, and I made a film. Actually, I was hoping the film would be out on DVD by the time I started doing this book tour, but it still hasn't come out. It's called Cleveland Screaming, and it's all about the punk scene in Cleveland and Akron. And as far as how the Zazen sort of helps the creative pursuits, you know, a couple of times I've been asked this question that people who are creative people are sort of afraid of Zazen because they think it's going to quiet their minds to the point where they won't have any ideas anymore, or this is even funnier, think that it's going to relieve them of suffering to the extent that they won't suffer anymore and therefore won't be creative. But I wish it worked that well. It does help in that I can. I think the best thing that Zazen has done for me in terms of that is to get rid of any idea of the result of my creative process being very important. Meaning that I used to kind of hold back, like thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't do this, you know, whatever it is, because nobody's gonna read it or nobody's gonna hear this song anyway, so why bother making it? That got solved for me. I wrote the book that became Hardcore Zen, which wasn't titled Hardcore Zen at the time. I had written 3 novels. I'd written a lot of things before, and I had a couple science fiction stories published in little tiny science fiction magazines. And I decided I was going to try to write novels, and so I tried to write science fiction novels that I thought were sellable. And I finished 3 of them, and each one took me a year to finish, and they were sort of guided by what I wanted to write and, number 2, what I thought the marketplace would be interested in. And none of those books ever got published. So I'd gotten the writing bug in me, and I couldn't stop it. So I just started writing this book about my life and how, you know, punk rock and Zen and monster movies, how it all sort of fit together, thinking that there's no one in the world who's going to want to read that book. I mean, honest to God, I you know, you go even now to the shelf, the Zen section of the bookshelf. You know, here you can go after the talk, and you won't find very many books about punk. You will find at least one other now, written by Noah Levine, wrote a couple, but I didn't realize there was anybody else writing about that. But they were all like written by these scholars or these very nice people who were Zen masters who lived on mountaintops and had nice, pretty things to say. And I wrote this like screaming, mad, crazy Zen book with punk rock and Godzilla in it. And I just wrote it to write it because I wanted to write it, just because I felt like writing it. And I was almost not going to even send it out to publishers, but since I already knew the routine of sending a book out to publishers, I decided I might as well do it, you know, because all it cost me was the price of stamps. And that was the one that got published. And it shocked the hell out of me. Honestly, I was just like, really? You know, when I got a letter back, or actually got an email back from Wisdom Publications saying they wanted to publish it, I was just like, really? Really? You know, I couldn't believe it, that they wanted to publish that. And I can only say that it probably had a lot to do with the fact that it was written very purely, without any intention of publishing it. You know, I thought maybe I would Xerox it and hand it to my friends, you know, or you know, Tower Records used to sell zines at the time. I thought maybe that, like, you know, making it a series of like 10 volumes of a zine or something, you know, like I don't know if you guys know what a zine is, but it's like a self-published, usually done on at a Kinko. Do you have Kinkos in Canada? At a Kinko's, you know, you just like Xerox it up yourself and get it bound and then put it out, you know, like 100 copies. That's what I thought it was going to happen with Hardcore Zen. You know, and then it gets published. And I get invited up to Saskatoon to talk about it. It's cool.